Hey guys, it's Destiny, and today we're going to be going over the Herta's Kit, team synergies, builds, and my overall thoughts on her value. Before we begin today's video, let me know which character from 3.0 you are the most excited for. For me personally, so far, it's definitely the Herta. And lastly, if you guys enjoy videos like these, you'll make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, support the video, and now let's get straight into it. To begin, let's go over Herta's Kit. Herta will be an Ice Erudition character who focuses on inflicting interpretation stacks onto enemies, which will increase the damage she deals onto them, and the team can also assist with inflicting interpretation stacks onto enemies as well. Herta's Kit allows allies to inflict interpretation stacks onto enemies when they attack them, and Herta will become stronger alongside another Erudition character when it comes to quickly stacking interpretation, as well as improving Herta's damage output as well. As for how many times interpretation can stack, it can stack up to 42 times for the maximum damage output. Now when it comes to Herta's skill, Big Brain Energy, which I absolutely love the names of her abilities in her kit, but when it comes to her skill Big Brain Energy, she'll be able to tackle enemies as well as stack interpretation. And then when it comes to Herta's enhanced skill, Hear Me Out, it will deal damage based on how many interpretation stacks are on the primary target. These stacks will reset after she attacks the primary target with her enhanced skill. However, the stacks will still remain on the other enemies on the field. When it comes to Herta's ultimate, it will deal damage to all enemies, but it will also rearrange the interpretation stacks to elite enemies or higher. Another thing to note about Herta's ultimate is that it'll allow her to unleash her enhanced skill afterwards, which Herta's enhanced skill will be a massive source of her damage output onto enemies. Another thing worth noting is that each time enemies were inflicted with interpretation stacks, Herta would actually have her own stacks underneath her health bar, and while the livestream didn't say what these stacks would do, I would assume it's to further increase her damage output. As for Herta's technique, she'll be able to mark up to 3 basic treasure locations on the map, which allows you to actually have an easier time finding treasure you may have missed. Plus, Herta's technique will be very useful in simulated universe modes or divergent universe, as she'll be able to inflict true damage onto enemies when using her technique in those modes. Overall, when it comes to Herta's kit, your goal will be to stack up to 42 interpretation stacks onto an enemy so that Herta can deal massive damage onto enemies with her enhanced skill. And of course, even if most of the stacks went to a little enemy rather than an elite or higher, not to worry, Herta's ultimate will ensure that these stacks will be rearranged to the elite level or higher to ensure the best use of her enhanced skills damage output. And now that we've gone over Herta's kit, let's actually go over team synergies. Now, as mentioned during her kit, Herta benefits from having another Erudition character on the team. It does remind me a bit of how Acheron benefits from having Nihility characters on the team, as they'll not only further amplify her damage output, but nicely assist with getting her stacks for her ultimate as well. In the case of Herta, having another Erudition character will not only strengthen her damage output, as well as provide other benefits. An additional Erudition character will be able to nicely assist with stacking interpretation onto enemies as quickly as possible. You'll ideally want to have another Erudition character alongside Herta, a supportive character to further amplify the damage of the team, and then a sustain of your choice, or potentially picking another supportive option if you decide to go the route of no sustain. For a free-to-play centric team, you can consider Big Herta alongside Little Herta with Remembrance Trailblazer and a sustain of your choice. Little Herta will be able to unleash frequent AoE attacks onto enemies, which allows you to stack more interpretation. Remembrance Trailblazer can advance forward Big Herta once Mem's charge is fully ready, as well as allow her to deal true damage onto enemies, which true damage ignores all buffs and debuffs, and this will be an additional damage tick in battle. As for the sustain option, having a sustain that has frequent AoE attacks will be great for Herta, as this can assist with stacking more interpretation onto enemies, which 2 options for frequent AoE attacks can consist of Linksha and Aventurine. Linksha can use her skill ultimate and has her follow-ups for AoE-centric attacks, and Aventurine can unleash follow-up attacks onto enemies. You can of course use other sustains though. For example, Huahua can provide more energy for the team, which can result in more ultimate usage. Gallagher's ultimate can attack all enemies, so if you can use his ultimate frequently, this can help out with the stacks, and so on. Another free-to-play team you can use that is very similar to the last one is actually using Big Herta, Serval, Remembrance Trailblazer, and then a sustain of your choice. Serval has a really low ultimate cost of only 100, which can allow Serval to unleash AoE damage onto enemies to assist with inflicting more interpretation stacks. As for more premium options, one of Herta's best partners will be Jade, as Jade can take advantage of Herta's AoE attacks to allow Jade to unleash more follow-up attacks onto enemies, and now the follow-up attacks result in more interpretation stacks, and Jade will also be able to buff Herta when Jade makes Herta the debt collector, as Herta will now have 30 more speed, which can allow you to reach higher speed thresholds now and attack more frequently as well. As for your supportive option, you can consider Robin for the huge damage buffs, attack buffs, 100% advance forward for the team, and so on. Then lastly, a sustain of your choice, of course. For more AoE-centric sustains though, as mentioned, you'll be looking at Linksha or Aventurine. Ideally, when building a Herta team, you'll want to use another Erudition alongside her for the additional benefits, which can consist of course of the characters I've mentioned. You can also take a look at Himeko, Argenti if there's good skill point management on your team, and so on. For the support, you can look at Remembrance Trailblazer as your free-to-play option, Robin, Pela for the defense reduction onto all enemies, Ruame for the damage buff, speed, ult-type res pen, and so on. The supportive option honestly just comes down to which supports you have on your account that you are able to use for your Herta team. And of course, when it comes to free-to-play players who may not have many options, Remembrance Trailblazer will be a very nice option, which is a completely free-to-play option, and we will be getting them next patch as well. When it comes to Herta team possibilities, I'll actually be showcasing a bunch of Herta teams very soon, so stay tuned for those videos and also subscribe to know when I upload them. Also, if you have any team suggestions, comment them down below as well. Now that we've gone over the basics of team building with Herta, let's actually go over how to build Herta. When it comes to building Big Herta, for her relic options, I would recommend Scholar Lost in Erudition the most for her 4-piece option. Scholar Lost in Erudition will grant Herta 8% crit rate as well as buff Herta's skill damage as well as ultimate damage. And after Herta uses her ultimate, she'll now be able to further buff her skill damage even more, which Herta will be able to unleash an enhanced skill after her ultimate, so this will assist with further amplifying her enhanced skills damage output. For those that may not have this set fully built, you can consider looking at 2-piece sets or 4-piece Glacial Forest, but overall, I would try to aim for the 4-piece Scholar Lost in Erudition set the most. As for her planar, you'll have a couple of options. You can use Rutland Arena for the extra crit rate and skill damage. You can use Izumo on Herta as well as your secondary Erudition character, as now you'll have 2 Erudition characters on the team, so they can both benefit from this planar set, and this will give you 12% more attack and crit rate. You can also consider Sigonia on Herta, especially for modes like Pure Fiction. And as for Herta's main stats, you'll want to go with crit rate body. Unless you end up getting a lot of crit rate substats, then you can go with crit damage body. You can use speed or attack boots, but I personally would prefer speed for more attacking frequency to stack interpretation faster. As for her orb, you would do ice damage boost, but if you don't have an ice damage orb, you can use attack. Lastly, for her rope, you'll go attack rope. As for her substats, you'll be looking at crit rate, crit damage, speed, and attack. When it comes to stat goals, I would recommend roughly a 1-to-2 crit ratio. So let's say you had 70% crit rate, I'd recommend 140 or higher crit damage. This ultimately just comes down to your substats though, what light cone option you have on her. Some supportive options also can assist with giving more crit rate or crit damage within battle, so there is also that to consider with team building and of course when you are building her. As for her speed, with speed boots, I would aim for 134 or higher. If you have supports on the team that grant speed, you can actually go a bit lower. Or if you want a very fast Herta, you can take advantage of speed boosts to further amplify her speed. For example, if you have Jade on the team, let's say you have 134 speed Herta, you could now have 164 speed, since Jade will give 30 more speed by making Herta the debt collector. As for light cone options, you can consider Herta's signature light cone, Eternal Calculus, Night on the Milky Way, Genius's Repose, The Day the Cosmos Fell, The Seriousness of Breakfast, Today's Another Peaceful Day, and so on. Now that we've gone over how to build Herta, let's go over my thoughts on her value. When it comes to Herta's value, she'll be a great option for those who are looking for a new ice damage dealer for their account, especially one that synergizes very nicely with other Erudition characters. She'll be able to nicely take advantage of dual DPS, in this case dual Erudition, very nicely. When it comes to her usage in all game modes, I'll be sure to showcase her in every mode to see her performance soon, but based on our last Erudition character release, which was Rappa, there is a good chance Herta will be very strong in all game modes. Other than her fun dual Erudition teams, I would also recommend her if you love her animations, and of course it is worth noting not every damage dealer is a need for someone's account. So because of that, I would primarily recommend Herta in the case if you enjoy her animations, gameplay, and of course want to play around with her team synergies. I personally will be going all out on my Herta pulls as she's one of my favorite designs and has some of my favorite animations by far. I'd love to know though what you all think of Big Herta and what teams you might run with her if you are planning to pull her, or if you're actually potentially skipping her. Also, I will be releasing a video very soon on my pulling opinions as there is a bunch of reruns coming in 3.0. So I'll be sharing who I think is the most worthwhile to pull, and I hope you all did enjoy this video, and if you did, do make sure to subscribe, leave a like to support the video, and I hope to see you all next time. Peace.